So I'm just going to start with some larger ideas and go down into some actionable things that you can use. WCAG is based on the POUR acronym. It's 4 core principles: perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. And what this means is it's allowing anyone to be able to interact with information regardless of their abilities. If you've worked with the digital services team, you know that we talk about clear, helpful, and well-structured content. And this is because we want constituents to be able to find the information that they need and do the things that they need to do. Things like the POUR acronym and these core accessibility principles, as Nikhil mentioned earlier this morning, may require a mindset change for some of us. And for agencies, this means actively prioritizing accessibility and usability. But in our day-to-day work, especially if you manage the content for your agency, this work can be made easier by just relying on the framework that you have available to you. You may need to set some new policies within your agency for accessibility or set up some new processes. But you're already doing some of this when you use GovHub if you're using the content types or filling out the fields in the way that it was designed, because it is designed to be accessible. So these things already shape the framework that you can rely on. And so as you're moving forward, accessibility becomes a practice and it becomes a part of your agency culture. And it's not something that you have to continue to think about every step of the way. So to break down how to begin to meet accessibility compliance, we're going to look at 3 very broad groups: the technical framework, the words, and the uploads. The technical framework is just the back end. It's the code behind your website or your mobile app. It's the elements of a design system, and it's what WCAG refers to as programmatic content. So it's how your content is designed for humans, but it can be interpreted by machines or assistive technology. The second and third groups are where content managers have absolutely the most impact. This is where you work. So the words need to be simple, helpful, and offer self-guiding choices so that users can navigate through information. You also have to make sure that they're conveyed, as Kat was speaking about earlier, so that nothing is invisible if someone is using assistive technology, like providing captions or making sure that your images have meaningful alt text. And then lastly, uploads, which could be PDFs, it can be images and random documents and spreadsheets that you suddenly realize are living on your website that you're going to have to take a look at. All of these need to be WCAG 2.1 AA compliant, and I'm going to go through the uploads in the next section here. So many of us have inherited content. These are things that have just lived there since the dawn of time. We don't know why they're there. We just know that they are, or maybe we just found a lot of them. This can be because of a bottleneck, because we don't have standardized processes or policies or accessibility training, or even just the time and the resources to manage all of this. What the accessibility compliance deadline then means for us is that this is a great time to identify everything that's there. And if it's a PDF or some random spreadsheet that you find on there, ask why it's there. Come up with a purpose, tie it to a purpose. If it doesn't have a purpose, can it be archived? Can it go away forever? I also encourage you to document the decisions as you're going along in case you have to defend any of these decisions later or show the work that's been done. You want to make sure that things are perceivable. So not using an image of text where text might actually be needed. Check the requirements, understand what can be archived and what still needs to be there. And on the Digital Services website, we've got links to all of the official sources, including the things that break it down for you. So you can give it to General Counsel and you can share it with your team and read through it yourself. We sent out a survey recently to ask agencies how ready they felt for this upcoming deadline. And through the responses that we got and things that we've seen, we understand that many agencies might need to allocate extra time for running these content inventories and identifying what's there, assigning responsibilities to establish some kind of governance and figure out who can make decisions, deciding what resources that you're going to need, and in the areas where you don't have in-house experience, do you need to look into any kind of training for your staff or bring in some outside help? So let's talk about how you're going to build a plan to meet your accessibility compliance in the next 11 months. Your compliance plans are going to be unique to your agency and the content that you do have, but these are just some key phases that I believe all of us are going to go through. The first one is a kickoff where you would be identifying the people that are going to have responsibility and what roles that they're going to have, and then communicating this out across your agency. And then assessing what's there, listing all of your properties, running those content inventories. And then with your audits and remediation, you're going to be finding the issues that are not going to be compliant and then fixing them, whether you're doing this yourself or you're bringing in a vendor or you're using some kind of tool to do this. And then testing. When all of this has been said and done, just making sure that your issues have been resolved. As part of the content on the Digital Services site, we've also added a section called Agency Leadership. I understand that many of you that are here today are content managers, but you're going to need to go back and start having these conversations with your agency leadership and with other people on your team. So we've just tried to give you as much information as possible to get those conversations started. So to support your work, this is a website, and the information that we've added is under Resources and Digital Accessibility Compliance. There's a link there to the full rule, which is listed on the Federal Register. There's a great document called the ADA Fact Sheet, which is meant specifically for state and local government. They call it reading for non-legal users, which I think is a great way to break it down. We've got those leadership key points, but we also listed some services and tools that might help you get started with this work. So key takeaways. These new requirements affect all state and local government, but anybody from a Georgia state agency. We've got a compliance deadline of April 24th, 2026. We're going to start building a plan to get the work done for the next 11 months. But as Shanzia also mentioned, this is not just a one-time thing. It's a change, and we're going to continue the work going forward. And then please find more information on our website. Thank you very much.